Guys, we have 40 new balance changes in the game right now. So I'm going to be explaining to you guys the new meta because all of these changes are really going to stir things up, guys. It's going to really change up the meta. So in today's video, I decided to go through and test all 40 of these changes out to give you guys the best explanation and ratings for all of these brawlers that moved up from their buffs or moved down in the meta from their nerfs. So let's start. All right, guys, let's start off with one of the best brawlers in the game, and that was Hank. Hank was so good because of his hypercharge, that homing ability. It felt like it never missed, especially in the open area. You can get a team wipe super easily, but now they have nerfed it so much. The homing ability got nerfed by 50%, and now it's just not as accurate. It's not as good anymore, and so Hank is gonna be dropping a lot in the meta now, guys. He's gonna go from being an S tier brawler to now a B tier. He's still pretty good, very viable in a lot of maps because he's really good in those maps when he has lots of walls to work with. And then of course he's got a super that can heal himself, and his hypercharge does speed him up and also makes him stronger, so it's still pretty decent. Overall, he's not gonna fall out of the meta. He's just gonna be in the middle now, a lot more balanced. Next, let's talk about Chester. Now Chester just recently got a very overpowered hypercharge, and now a couple days later he's already got nerfed. That hypercharge rate nerfed by 25%. However, it's still a really powerful hypercharge, of course, because it's like an instant kill and then you can cycle your super very quickly. However, it does take longer to charge, so Chester's not going to be as oppressive anymore. He's still going to be very strong brawler, most likely A tier right now in the game, even though it takes a lot longer to get that hypercharge. Talking about another brawler just got another hypercharge, we've got Sam and his new hypercharge, which is so OP, guys. Sam's new hypercharge is so OP, but it's got nerfed so much now. It's going to take a lot longer to get that hypercharge now. They reduced it from 40% to 20% charge rate, so it's gonna take so much longer. I've tested it out a bunch, guys, and most of the time against competitive teams, you're most likely to just get his hypercharge once in the game. A lot of times that one hypercharge could be the biggest difference maker, kind of similar to like Fang's hypercharge that can go through walls and get a team wipe, or Mortis's hypercharge. Those hypercharges do take an excruciatingly long time to charge, and so Sam is gonna fall off out of the S tier and he's gonna move on to the B tier most likely. A very balanced area, very powerful hypercharge. In other areas, he still struggles in this meta, guys. Now we gotta talk about Mr. P's hypercharge, one of the best hypercharges in the game. It got nerfed. The porters now last only 10 seconds, and the speed of the porters reduced by 7%. Now you would think that is substantial, but it actually isn't, guys. Mr. P is still super strong, especially once he gets his hypercharge down. Even though those porters start decaying in health per second, it doesn't matter because it's still gonna force the enemy to eat up their ammo, right? That's the best thing about Mr. P and his hypercharge, guys, is those porters keep coming and coming and they eat up the enemy's ammo, making it very easy for you and your team to dominate. And then you, of course, also get your super. You can cycle it quicker. There's so much Mr. P can do, and he's still gonna be one of the strongest brawlers in the meta right now. Top 5, arguably top 3 still in the game. And then we have Stu's Speed Zone gadget getting a nerf, and it's only gonna last 10 seconds now. And you would think this is also a significant nerf, but it really isn't, considering Stu's Breakthrough gadget is oftentimes the better gadget. The ability to destroy walls and makes him more versatile counter to like brawlers like throwers, opening up the map. It's a more versatile option, so Stu is gonna continue to be an S tier brawler in the meta, guys. The nerf is insignificant. Same with B, guys. B is also gonna remain an S tier brawler in the meta right now. Still one of the best brawlers, tank counters. That gadget nerf is just a couple seconds slower now. It's still not significant enough. The rattling hive gadget is still very strong, even though it's now gonna take 3 seconds longer to get. It's still gonna be very good. Next, we have Poco. Now Poco was an S tier brawler in the meta. Both of his gadgets were super strong, and now they got nerfed, especially his protective tunes gadget. It got nerfed significantly, went from 11 seconds to now 18 seconds. So Poco is gonna fall from the meta just a little bit, not a lot. He's still a great counter to a lot of common threat in the meta, especially if you're using the gadget cooldown gear with it. You're gonna save some seconds. You're gonna get the protective tunes quicker with Poco, so he's still gonna be a very good brawler. He's probably gonna drop to A tier now. He's just not as good with that protective tunes. He used to be able to use it all the time, just constantly cycle it because it used to have a crazy cooldown. Now Ali was a very powerful brawler in the meta, guys. He was S tier undoubtedly, and he is still a very strong brawler. They nerfed his charge rate just a bit. Now it takes 7 hits to get his super instead of 6. However, he's still gonna be really strong considering his tank trait. That ability to just take damage, go aggressively, and you can constantly just cycle super. So Ali is still gonna be a very strong brawler. His regulate gadget also got nerfed a bit. It takes 20 seconds to get it, now cycle it, but it's still gonna be very strong, and he's gonna continue to remain a strong brawler, probably falling from S tier to now A tier. So let's talk about some other S tier brawlers that have dropped from the meta. Another brawler that's gonna be dropping a lot, guys, is Barry. Barry's gonna go from the S tier to now B tier, and that's predominantly because his charge rate with his main attack, he's gonna charge his super and hypercharge a lot slower, and this is gonna really change up the pace because that's where Barry really shined on, especially on like a game mode like Hot Zone. Couple him with a brawler like a Frank, and you can just constantly cycle supers. Well, it's gonna be a lot harder, and this may be significant enough to really push him out of the top tier meta. So he's gonna still be a pretty balanced B tier brawler. I don't think he's gonna remain as a top tier brawler anymore, guys. Same with Melody. Melody's hypercharge, especially the rate which she was charging that hypercharge, was so fast, and it made her so powerful as an aggressive brawler, kind of like a better Mortis on Gem Grab, Hot Zone, Brawl Ball. But now with the hypercharge rate nerfed, it takes longer to get. She's gonna be dropping to A tier now from the S tier, so she's still gonna be pretty strong brawler, but overall she's gonna be dropping quite significantly because it is gonna take a lot longer to get that hypercharge. And then we have Juju, guys. Juju is still S tier. It's crazy, right? Juju, when she was first released, she got a couple nerfs, and now her gadget, the shield aspect of it, got nerfed just a little bit, 20% less now. So now countering her with a brawler like a Mortis is gonna be a lot easier. However, she is still gonna be super good, especially in draft or like ranked mode. Juju is still gonna be really good because you don't really want to draft her into a counter, right? Overall, she's still gonna be countering other throwers. She's gonna be offering more than other throwers because of her spawner. The spawner is what allows her to counter a brawler like Mortis and other assassins and tanks. So she's always gonna be really good, continuing to be S tier. And then we have Janet, guys. Janet hypercharge rate got reduced a bit as well, but it doesn't matter. You change the rate from 40% to 30%. It doesn't matter because Janet only needs one hypercharge super to just become super impactful. It's like a free kill, cycle back your super, and it's so OP in gem grab, guys. You can go right at the gem carrier, the opposing enemy's gem carrier, with your hypercharge, kill them, pick up the gems, and then fly away with your super again. It's so powerful. I don't think Janet is gonna fall off. In fact, I've been playing with her a lot ever since the balance changes, and it feels like she's still the same brawler. Now, both of Edgar's gadgets have gotten a cooldown buff. Now it takes 2 seconds less to get those gadgets going, and so Edgar is gonna move up just a little bit in the meta from the F tier to now C tier. So he's a little serviceable. Overall, you basically want to pick Edgar into counters, like you want to pick him into throwers, for example, or if the other team has a bunch of squishy brawlers, then it would make sense, because ever since his gadget changed, that gadget rework, it took so long to continually get your supers with him. So this is gonna help him out a little bit. I did manage to get his supers a lot more often now, thanks to the 2-second cooldown reduction. Now, another brawler that also got hurt by the gadget rework was Charlie. Now, Charlie was really good with her spiders gadget, the ability to just constantly use it, especially at the start of the game. You can constantly use it, but ever since the gadget rework, it took a lot longer now, 18 seconds to get those spiders going. So she became a pretty weak brawler in the meta, but now it's not gonna take 6 hits instead of 7 hits to get her super, and that's gonna be big for a single target brawler who takes a long time to get that super. Her super is very deadly, one of the best supers in the game, but it does take so long to charge. So she's gonna be moving up just a little bit from the C tier to now B tier in the meta. Now, Gray, we have to talk about Gray, guys. Gray's walking cane cooldown got reduced a bit. It takes a little longer, but it doesn't matter. Gray is still super versatile. He's gonna continue to remain an S tier brawler. He's so good in pretty much all game modes. He's so good with that support ability to teleport, and then the sniper capabilities, right? The ability to assassinate enemies, like teleporting, and then also pulling and then countering throwers. He has so much going for him. And then we also have Lou. Now, Lou got a small nerf as well. What they did was change his charge rate, his super's charge rate, from 8 hits to now 9 hits. And you would think that's significant, but it doesn't really matter that much, especially because you want to pick Lou mainly into tanks and assassins, and he's still so good with that. Just just use your supercharge here, guys. You're gonna continue to get his super and his hypercharge very quickly. So Lou has still been super strong. I've been playing him a lot ever since the Poco nerf as well, because they nerfed his Poco's protective tunes, and what that did is now that made Lou even better, because now less people are playing Poco, and so they can't counter Lou as effectively anymore. Guys, thanks to the gadget rework, especially Squeak's wind-up gadget, he moved up a lot in the meta. It used to be 11 seconds, but now they nerfed it. It's now 14 seconds. So that really sucks for Squeak, because he used to be A tier, and now he's gonna be falling a little bit to now B tier. So he's still gonna be pretty decent, but overall not as oppressive anymore. The ability to spam your wind-up long-range attack multiple times in a game, you can't do that anymore, guys. And then we also have, guys, Bo. Bo is gonna be moving up a bit as well, because now it's gonna take even less time to get his hypercharge. So you can get that hypercharge quicker now. But he's gonna be moving most likely from B tier now to A tier, hopefully, because Bo has been really struggling in the meta, full of aggressive brawlers, lots of speedy mobile brawlers that are able to just walk through his mind. So maybe this will make him a little better and move him up to the A tier. Next we have Ems. Now Ems got a nice hypercharge rate buff, so she does get her hypercharge quicker, but she's gonna continue to remain a C tier brawler in the meta. The problem with Ems in this meta is, guys, there's just so many brawlers that counter her, so many mid-range brawlers that counter her, and then so many aggressive brawlers that can just break through walls like Stu or Gray can teleport on her. You got aggressive hypercharges that can just counter her. So this meta, guys, is just not very good for Ems. And so even with this small nerf to her hypercharge, she's gonna continue to remain C tier. However, a brawler that's really gonna be moving from the F tier all the way to B tier now is Mo. Mo got a huge reload speed buff, 25%, but now a lot easier to spam your attacks with Mo and get your super quicker, because that's what Mo is super dangerous with. Once he gets his super, the ability to go underground, avoid damage, and knock back the enemy. Then you also have your super back as well, so you can do more stuff. In his secondary form, you can also easily use your gadget to break the walls. So Mo is still really good, especially with this reload buff. He's gonna be moving up a lot in this meta, up into B tier right now. Next, Max's Sneaky Sneakers gadget got a small cooldown buff from 12 seconds to now 10 seconds. So you're gonna be able to cycle this gadget a lot quicker, and it's still pretty good on like gem grab, but overall her phase shifter gadget is still much more superior, guys. And Max is gonna continue to remain an S tier brawler in the game, guys. And then we also have Shade's second gadget, the jump scare gadget, getting a small buff as well to its cooldown. But guys, it's so bad. This gadget is so bad, it's not gonna make any difference, because Shade's long arm gadget is still by far better. You must use his long arm gadget to extend your range, get hits, and also charge your super quicker, because Shade really struggles in that. His second gadget, the radius of effect is so small that oftentimes it's just gonna be a waste. So Shade is gonna continue to remain a B tier brawler in this meta, guys. Then we got Meeple. Now Meeple's, both of his gadgets got cooldown nerfed just by a little bit, but it's still significant enough to push him a little out of the meta from the A tier now to B tier. So Meeple is still pretty decent, but overall this cooldown nerf to his gadgets, when both of his gadgets are so strong, is definitely gonna hurt him a lot. Now another brawler that's gonna be really falling out of the meta is Mortis, one of the most popular brawlers in the game. Now he got another hypercharge rate nerf, so it takes a lot longer to get that hypercharge, which is one of the strongest hypercharges in the game. The ability to team wipe the enemy very easily, getting double the heal, double the supercharge. But now you can't do that anymore as much. Okay, so Mortis is gonna be falling off a lot, so you guys should stop using him in Brawl Ball and hockey, because you're gonna have much other better options. And then we have Finks. Now Finks has been a very weak brawler since his release, but now with this new change, his reload is faster. You're gonna be able to spam his attacks faster, and he also moves faster now. He's got faster movement speed, so he's gonna be moving from the D tier to now B tier, maybe even A tier. We'll have to see about that. Finks has a lot of potential in the game right now, guys. And then we got Terra. I can't believe Terra actually got buffed, because I felt like Terra was very balanced, but now it takes one card less to get her super, which also means she's also going to get her hypercharge a little faster. So Terra's going to be moving from the B tier to most likely A tier now. And then we have Rosa. Rosa's grow light gadget was crazy, 10-second cooldown. You can spam bushes on the whole area of the map. Well, now you can't do that as effectively anymore with a 13-second cooldown nerf. She's going to be moving from the B tier to now C tier. And then we have Meg. Now Meg's hypercharge rate did get nerfed just just a little bit, guys. Only 12.5% nerf. It's very insignificant. So Meg is still gonna be very good because her hypercharge, it still charges very quickly, guys. I couldn't even notice the difference. So she's gonna continue to stay a balanced B tier brawler in the meta. And then we have Frank, guys. Frank used to be S tier, and now he might be moving a little down, maybe even A tier now because of his hypercharge rate nerf. It's gonna take a lot longer to get that hypercharge, 25% charge rate nerf. So a few more hits longer to get that hypercharge, but it still charges very quickly because he's also got the tank trait to help him charge his hypercharge. So Frank is still gonna be a really strong brawler, but probably not an S tier anymore though. Another brawler that's really gonna continue to stay in the meta is Jean. Jean Vengeful Spirits gadget got a 2-second cooldown nerf, but still it's really good for bounty and knockout because those game modes are very passive game modes. You take your time, you play slowly, so you're not gonna be able to spam that gadget as effectively anymore. But Jean has other great versatility in so many areas. Magic Puff gadget, ability to pull the enemy and win the game that way, pull their gem carrier and win, right? So Jean is gonna continue to be a tier brawler. Same with Belle. Belle got a small nerf to her nest egg gadget. The cooldown also got nerfed by 3 seconds, so it takes a little longer to get it, but she's still gonna be very good in the meta, guys, especially in open area maps and a lot of game modes like bounty and knockout where she can place multiple nest eggs on the map. And then you also have her other gadget, which is also pretty good, the ability to bounce off of walls. And then we have Lola. Now Lola got a big buff to her hypercharge rate, guys. Now she's gonna be taking a lot less longer to get that hypercharge, right? It's got a 40% rate buff, so she's gonna be moving from B tier to now A tier. She's a very good mid brawler, especially in the open area map. She's got a really nice range. She's not a sniper, but she has significant range to dominate on open area maps, get her super, and then she can now get her hypercharge a lot quicker. Couple it with her shield gadget, and it's gonna also empower your hypercharge ego, which is gonna deal more damage with more health. Okay, so she's gonna continue to be better now in this meta. Now Leon's lollipop gadget did get a small cooldown nerf, so it's not gonna be as effective. So he's gonna be moving down in the meta a little bit. You can't have permanent invisibility on the map anymore. He's gonna be falling a little bit from A tier to B tier. And finally we have Carl. Carl's heat ejector is super strong, so I got a cooldown nerf, but it's still gonna be really strong, especially in passive game mode. You can take your time with it and you can still deal so much damage. Carl is still gonna continue to remain a dominant brawler in the meta, continuing to be an S tier. So let's review some of the brawlers that are gonna continue to remain at the top. S tier brawlers, you got the best brawler still. You got Mr. P, Stu, B, all S tier still. Juju and Janet still S tier. Gray and Carl still S tier, guys. Then you have Max and Lou, who are also gonna be remaining as S tier in the meta.